very well to do it, trust me. He just sent me my corporate tax bills. It's painful. But I did it through a corporation and 3 LLCs. But my rental properties are in my LLC. So anyways, okay, so here are your plan types and your annual contributions that are allowed, okay? Until April 15th this year, your annual contribution still can count for last year, okay? So you have till April 15th, then your contribution will count towards 2013. So you still have till April 15th for 2012. A traditional IRA, you're limited to $5,500, or if you're over 50 years old, you're limited to $6,500 per year contribution, okay? And I'm going to go through some of these here, but what I do want to tell you is, I don't care how many 401ks or Roths that you have, they are combined. You can't say I can have 55 in this traditional and 55 in this Roth or whatever. You can't. They're combined sums. Okay, so you are limited. So there's no value in having multiple. So if you have a 401k with your company and you want to run another 401k self-directed, it is a combined total. Okay, 401k plans are company sponsored typically. Go ahead.
Are you saying that if you're a self-directed IRA, that's all you can do? You can't have, say, your 401k and say some Roth?
You can't. Now, we're talking the difference between pre-tax money and post-tax money. If it's pre-tax money, you're limited to 65, no matter how many accounts you had. You can have several accounts. You're just limited to your annual contribution of $6,500. Remember, this is annual contribution limited based on the tax code. Okay? Your 401k plans are typically company sponsored. Okay? 17.5 under 50, 23 over 50. They just upped it again, I think 1,000 or 500 this year. They just upped it to $23,000 in your 401k company sponsored. Now, that is what you're allowed to contribute. That can be either matched by your company or whatever your company plan is, okay? So it's $23,000, sir?
On those, if you are self-employed and have no employees, there is a plan that you can have there, and you own a company. You can actually, you can contribute 17.5 to your 401k, and your company can contribute another 32.5 on top of that for 50 total. 55 if you're over, what is it, 50, 55?
50. Yeah. Simples and SEPs, that's what those are called. Simples. Go ahead.
But it's so
or a solo 401k. There you go.
You can have another employee, but that's your spouse.
Yeah.
And having another employee, that can be less than 4 months.
Yeah. Exactly. Solo 401k, simple SEPs. There's all kinds of, and I didn't cover all of them here. Okay, but here's your SEP, your simple employee plan. You're capped at $51,000 or 25% of the employee's compensation. So if you're self-employed, if you're making over $204,000, you can put 51k in at 25%. That's huge. Okay? How do you think some of these people have just built such wealth here? Okay? And I will tell you, the gurus up there are telling you 2 years, 2 to 5 years, they're going to come after Romney's money, because that's what he did. He built this stuff, and that's how he built his wealth. Okay. So here's your simple right here: savings investment plan matched for employees. 12,000 or 14.5 is this year's limit. Okay. HSAs. Now your HSAs are based on what your current health care plans are, what your deductibles, and there's some restrictions and laws that go along with that. But you can do a self-directed HSA, $3,100 or $4,100 self-directed IRA, or family 62.5 or 72.5. Okay, what is the value in doing a health savings account for $3,100 in a year, self-directed? What if you use that $3,100 to option a property, sell it off, and you make 10 grand on it? Where's that 10 grand go? Right in that IRA. It must go back in that IRA. You can use the 31 for option money, or $2,000 or $1,000. You can use that to option the deal, and the profits from that option must go back in your IRA. That's huge. No. Right. All these, I mean, you can do a combination thereof, but it's subject to deductibles in your health care plan. I'm a retired federal employee. My health care plan does not allow for an HSA, but if you've got a high deductible, you can. Okay. Here's a big one. Coverdell education accounts, CISAs, are limited to $2,000 a year based on your AGI. Grandkids, kids, their grandkids, whatever. Is your child an employee? How hard is it to make your child an employee? You got a business card? Put your kid's picture on the business card. Go ahead. They would, if your child, they would have their own account. You would have them set up their own account, and then they would be based on these other regulations here. Yeah. But if they're an employee, if you pay them $2,000 a year, okay, because the CISA is a Coverdell account, you pay them $2,000 a year, it can go right in that account because they're on your business card. It's advertisement. Okay, and if they are, then they're eligible for a lot of these self-investment plans, or they're eligible for the others right here. If it was me, I'd be right here in a Roth IRA, post-tax money. It's at 55. Okay, because here's another beauty of the difference between pre and post-tax, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Okay, what happens when you turn 70 years old and you've got pre-tax 401k money? What happens? What's the government required to do? Minimum distributions, right? So they're going to make you draw it. Okay, what about a Roth? Is there any taxable event? There's no drawdown on a Roth. You can heir it to your kids or your spouse. It automatically becomes your spouse, and then your spouse can heir it to your kids, and it can stay in that tax-free environment up to 99 years, 100 years.
All the profits tax-free.
All the profits are tax-free. Yep, sir.
On that, with my husband, I'm going to don't move it over because my tax bill.
Okay, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about that, okay? Perfect. Let me tell you this. Let's think about this, okay? Now it's January 1st. Okay, it happens to be middle of February, or end of February, okay? And you say, I'm going to take my 401k, pre-tax money, or whatever it is, pre-tax money, and I'm going to roll it to a Roth. Now, the government is allowing you to do that now with no penalty, okay, and no AGI. Why is the government allowing you to do that right now? They want tax money. They're trying to pay themselves for it. So they just allowed you to start doing this over the since 2010. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so. Right.
But my account is actually not to because we're
okay. Okay, so and I'm going that direction. Okay, what I'm telling you is now the government's allowing you to do that, and the rules are there's no penalty. Okay, they're waiving the 10% penalty fee, and if you paid a penalty fee, you would only pay it on the money you roll over. So now let's just say you have $100,000 in pre-tax money. Let's just make it easy. It's pre-tax money, it's 401k, and I want to convert it to a Roth. Okay, I have a tax bill of $30,000, correct? Okay, and I did it 1 January. When does that tax bill due? Following year, right? So that's 15 months later. That gives you 15 months to invest $100,000 of that money. Do you think that you can earn $30,000 if you're actively investing in real estate to pay the tax bill? Absolutely. Yeah, well, exactly, and you can write off. That's right. My CPA wrote off the entire rollover. Okay, I pay no money on that rollover. Okay, but they advise you not to do that because what do most of them think of? How much money are you going to make in a year in your IRA invested in mutual funds and stocks and Merrill Lynch and all those people involved in there? You're probably not going to make enough money to pay the tax bill. Okay, exactly. Okay, but if you can do it and you invest it yourself and make the $30,000, let's just say you make 20. So now your account now is at $120,000 and you got a $30,000 tax bill. Now you're at 90. And that was 1 year.
You don't have to roll it all over in 1 year. You can roll it over in segments.
You don't. You're right. You can roll it over in segments. But the law just started so you could do the rollover. How long is it going to be available? I don't know. Okay? It's still in effect. It's still in effect. It changed in 2010. And they've carrying it because the government's trying to... Right. Right. Now, let's talk about the penalty. There's a 10% penalty if you roll the money over and do what to it? Withdraw it. Okay, so there's no penalty if you roll it over, but if you have to take the $30,000 and pay the tax bill with it, what's the penalty? 10%, right? Of what? Of the 30. It's a $3,000 hit. Why wouldn't you? Okay? To me, it makes a lot of sense. However, you have to be motivated enough and you have to have enough gumption to go out there and invest the money and make the money back. But in just that one example I had of Delwood, and I was able to make $23,000 return, how many times do I need to do that I'm in the green and the tax bill's paid? Or you get a good CPA and he's able to offset your write-offs, like you said, to be able to do that. Okay? Absolutely.
Plus, added to
your income already. Absolutely. Absolutely.
you really have to be looking at both sides of it.
Sure.
Figure out what your tax is going to be.
Sure.
That's the way things come out. You really screw you if you're a bad tax.
It could. Okay. Are taxes going to go down? Are they going to get any better? Okay. Are you going to pay the $30,000 in taxes on that same $100,000 whether you draw it a nickel at a time or $100,000 at a time? Eventually you're going to pay that $30,000, right? Okay. Now, I'm not saying that's good for everybody because I will tell you, I have 401k money. I have pre-tax money. I have post-tax money. Okay. I have other investments as well. And the reason I do that is because you do want some income coming in that you have write-offs for when it starts coming in, okay? You do want that taxable income coming in, so you have those write-offs as well later on, okay? So it's not for everybody, okay? But the key thing is you have to understand is you can't benefit from it, okay? But I'm going to show you something here that at 59 and a half and 5 years, what it really means to you if you do something like this, okay? And then we'll get that towards the end, okay? All right, tax deferred versus tax free. We talked a little bit about this, okay? Tax deferred versus tax free based on contributions and rollovers, okay? A tax deferral is most plans. That's the employee contribution plans, that's the pre-tax money that's put in, that's been offset, and the benefit of that is your time value of money. It works and it provides compounding effects for you. It's not a bad thing. When the government allowed you to do a 401k, what did they set themselves up for? A retirement plan on your back. They set themselves up a retirement plan because when you turn 70, when you wouldn't normally have income, now you have taxable income. The government set themselves up for a retirement plan. There's nothing wrong with it. I think everybody should be putting that money aside, and it's great to have that tax deferred money, and I max mine out, and I max my wife's out, okay? You need that money going into your accounts. However, the government is setting themselves up for that plan. Not a bad thing. And time value of money is huge, okay? And everybody's seen the calculator where you take your Starbucks money every day and you put it into your tax-deferred money and it grows over a period of time, turns into millions of dollars. That's mathematically, that's real. Is it the reality of most people and what they have to put into their IRAs? Typically, no, okay? All right. Tax-free is only Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks funded with after-tax dollars. The key to that is it's not taxable when it's drawn, and the profits are not taxable, ever. under the current laws. I'm going to say that because we'll see what happens. Okay? But it's not taxable when you draw it either. Okay? So here it is. The minimum account open is at least 5 years and 59 and a half. The earnings are tax-free, not tax-deferred. Here's the light bulb, folks, right here. So over at 59 and a half, you have a Roth IRA that has been open for 5 years. You have $100,000 in your account, and you want $20,000 to buy a boat. What do? Buy a house, rehab it, and sell it for $100,000, make $120K at 59 and a half. Where's that 20K go? Right out of the account into your pocket. That's huge. Tax-free. That's huge. So let's say you have $300,000 in your Roth, your 59 and a half, and it's been open for 5 years. You want income that's tax-free of $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year tax-free. It's massive. It's crazy money to me. And I went pretty quick, didn't I? Okay. Just had a lot of information. I went pretty quick. Okay, so think about this, okay? And what does wealth equate to? What is really the value of money equate to? How much do you need? How much do you need? Have we all thought that? How much do I need to retire? How much do I need to sustain myself? How much do I need to get down the road? Okay, well, that's an easy answer. How long am I going to live? What's my expenses? You don't know that. Okay, I came to the reality of it's a feeling. It's a comfort level. It's the knowledge base that I have, that I know if I want to take $100,000 and I want to go out and buy a rehab house and I want 20K coming out of the back end, it's that feeling. It's my wife, and I'm one of those guys that I work hard for what I get, and I save the money that I got, and I drive the car till the wheels fall off. And my wife wanted this Beamer, the 650i, and I could not get there. Honey, that's stupid money. Cars aren't worth that kind of money, okay? They're not. They're not worth that kind of money. I don't care what you drive, okay? She says, well, I want the car. So I started shopping it. All right, look, I'm not paying that kind of money for a car, okay? Well, I went down and found a used one that was stupid cheap in mint condition, and I said, you know what? She needs to have that car, because I finally got that feeling that I don't have to worry about the 20K that came out of my pocket to buy that car. As it was, I financed because the money was so cheap. But it cost me $1,000 to carry it for 4 years. I mean, that's stupid cheap. Okay. But the point is I finally got that feeling that I'm not worried about being able to make money when I retire. It's a feeling that I have, and most entrepreneurs are never going to worry about retiring because we're never going to retire. We're just going to keep doing something. We're going to be involved in things, and we're going to work hard.
Who's got the car?
You know, the nice thing about it, Tom, is she told me if I bought it, I could bury her in it. So it's going to work as a casket anyways. That's if I don't die in it first, because I went out on Heckscher Drive and the cop said you were doing 96 according to me. My buddy was behind me. He got you at 94. He says, but I understand the car. So he wrote me for 9 miles an hour over. All right. I got through it pretty quick, didn't I? Okay, no, actually, I'm back the other way here. Okay, I do have more information. Sorry. How I can buy real estate in my IRA. Okay, so let's talk about now how do we get this? First time I've done this presentation, believe it or not. So, and I did write it, but it was the first time I've done it. That's why I thought I was at the end. So let's talk about how you do this. How does this work? How do I put deals together? What am I allowed to do? Okay. The creative scenarios are endless, limitless of what you can do and how you can structure this, okay? We talked a little bit about this. The outright purchase must have sufficient funds to purchase, rehab, insure, closing costs, taxes, and etc. of 100% of the deal. And 100% of the profits must go back into your IRA. Okay? This is a scenario, again, where you get to the end of the deal, you bought the house, you rehabbed it, you had $100,000 into the deal, and you're out of money, and they steal the AC unit. Now you're out of money in your IRA. Do not put yourself in a position with your IRA or however you structure your deals that you're going to run out of money, because if you do, you can't take money out of your pocket and pay for the AC unit.
Can you make a second investment from the IRA?
Well, you can always use your IRA if you were at $100,000 and you had 150 in there and you needed to do the AC unit, absolutely. Okay, because the deal is you're going to buy the house, the IRA owns it, you're just managing the asset, and you're paying to rehab it. There is no set figure there as long as there's still money in your IRA. Okay, but you cannot run out of money at the end. Now, keep in mind what I said. The caveat to that is go ahead and make that contribution to your IRA, and you're going to have to back it out at the end of the year based on your AGI. Okay, and your tax guy is going to tell you how that works. Okay. Always plan for the unexpected. You must be able to complete the entire transaction. Okay? Now, this is a key thing right here. The percent of undivided interest. Okay? Your IRA is part owner, say 50%, and I use that number. It can be 10%, it can be 20%. Another IRA, self, person, or equity can be the other 50%, 10%, whatever it is, as long as it equals 100%. It must be titled that way, it must be purchased that way, it must be managed that way, and all profits must go back in that way. And I want to stop here a little bit and think, I want you guys to think a little bit about this and ask questions, because this is really the gist and the key of how this works, okay? So the three gentlemen in the back of the room right there say, Bob, I've got $30,000 a piece, and I want you to use your IRA to invest in the property, rehab it, and we want to share the profits. And I can take all three of their IRAs. I can have the money go to the title company. I can have it go in escrow. I can buy the house, rehab the house, bill pay right out of the title company, and the profits come back. They get their profit, their base and their profit goes back to their IRA, and my profits go back to me. That's pretty bizarre. Go ahead.
Do you have to invest in your IRA, or can you do that in somebody else's without the investment?
Absolutely. I can just use their three IRAs. Okay? I have...
You wouldn't be an agent or anything.
No.
He's a partner.
I'm a partner with them. Because, remember now...
He puts it in his IRA.
No. Remember...
He doesn't have to just partner with IRA, he can partner with anybody.
Right.
You have to be vested in
No. Here's the deal. Okay, think about this. Can you do hard money loans out of your IRA for somebody to buy the house? Secure by the note. They're doing the same thing. The only difference is I took their three IRAs and combined them into the note. And they all get a note, and what do I get? Mortgage. I get the mortgage. They get the note, right? I'm on the deed. But their note says I'm going to pay them 33%, 33%, 33% of whatever our decision is, and then I can make the profits on it. So my IRA is not in there. Now, I can go 20, 20, 20, and I can put 40% of my IRA in there. Now, it doesn't have to be equal shares.
So now you can't manage.
Why?
If you put your IRA, you put the tax in.
What's the definition of a self-directed IRA? All I'm doing is directing the IRA. I can manage the asset. I can tell people to bill pay. I can't work on it.
But if you personally partner with him, now you can manage everything. There's no restriction.
I can...
20, 20, 20, and they would get 20% of the profit.
What?
And you would get 40%.
Correct. My IRA would get 40% if we partner with the IRA. Right. It doesn't matter. Exactly. So everything that we've said here is okay. The point is, and Joe says you can't manage it, but the reason for self-directed IRAs is you can manage the deal. You can manage the asset. You can do the bill pay. I can tell the electrician to go to work. I can tell the contractor to do this. I can go into bill pay. I can tell all Florida to pay the electrician. You just can't be right. Right. Okay?
Well, the other way, you could be the contractor.
Right.
You wouldn't.
Right. Now that's true. His point is if I use just their IRA, now I could be the contractor and I could benefit from it as well. Yes.
And you can actually
Right.
receive a fee for that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. Now, how am I going to structure the deal? How much do you want on your money? 8%? 10%? Do you want to be half? You want to split the profits? That's what I do. I split profits. Ma'am?
I would like investing.
And that's fine. You know what I tell people? Okay? Here's what I tell people. They say, well, wow, what do you got in the deal? I say, I'll tell you what, I'll take my wife's IRA and I'll partner with your IRA. You think I'm going to screw the pooch? you think I'm going to mess that one up? No, it's not going to happen. But let's go back to the original example. What happens if I had to take Delwood and sell it for $113,000? You break even. Okay? It's not always a home run. There's not always a lot of money in every single deal. It's based of time-weighted money, and your percentages are based on your return. If the house sells in 90 days and it's gone, and you make $4,000, your rate of return is pretty high. If you have to wait a year out and your rate of returns is $4,000, it's pretty low. I will tell you, honestly, in all the IRA investing that I've done, I've lost a total of $1,000 between my IRA and my wife's IRA in one deal. Okay. Now there's some that we didn't make a lot of money, but you have no carrying cost. Okay. You have very little. You have the utilities and you have the taxes. Okay. So you got very little carrying cost in there, as long as you're not paying a note. So that's why I structure them. We're all partner with somebody's IRA. What I do is I'll say, look, I'll take your IRA and I'll invest it by the house. And then when we're all said and done and all the bills are paid, I'll split the profits with you. That's how the note's structured. I have no payments to you. I have nothing. I'll just split the profits with you in the end. Okay? So in the end, I own the house. You own the note, or your IRA owns the note. And when it gets paid off, the money goes from the bank to the title company. And the title company, what do they have to do with the note? They've got to pay it. They've got to settle the note out before they can disperse any profits from it. That's huge. Okay, and that's what the idea of IRA and real estate means to me. Because if I wanted to run a pizza joint and I want you to invest with me in a pizza joint, and I eat all the pizza, do you have any control over that? If I want to sell the business, do you have any control over that? As long as there's not really, as long as they don't own the building. But right, I mean, there's just and you know what? There's probably ways, and you probably could sit back there and think of ways that you could probably get around the system and circumvent something, but my mind doesn't work like that, so I really couldn't tell you how to do it. I just don't do that.
I think I know the answer, but if my IRA buys a company,
Yeah?
I cannot let my property management corporation I own.
No, are you making profits from your corporation? Then you can't. You're personally gaining from that. You're personally getting benefit from that. And you're correct. You're exactly right. Okay. So you got to make sure the arm's length transactions. And that's why when I do a 50-50 with somebody's IRA or my IRA, I send it to the title company so all the money's escrowed there. So everybody knows that money's there, and then any residual money's left over is basically calculated out as to whether the note was fully paid and then the split was done. You know, it gets split that way, but that's the way it's structured. Go ahead, Doug.
With income tax, you don't look back 3 years. See if you gain the case and then you make the payout. How long can they look back on an IRA?
Don't know the answer to that one.
As long as you legally have to keep records on those transactions.
That's probably a good point.
Which for a title company.
Don't know. That's interesting.
What happens to the requirements? What happens to the?
There are always requirements. As a matter of fact, you have requirements on keeping records in your IRA. But then they can also go back to any banking records, don't mess it up.
To me, it's not worth it because it's too easy and it's too simple to manage otherwise. Okay, I will tell you that, and I did it, I find this really bizarre. Okay, I went down to Equity Trust and I did a presentation on the stage there, and I don't know how many people were in there, lots, but and then I did a webinar. Okay, with Equity Trust. And I had people sending me emails because my email address was on the webinar and calling me and say, look, Bob, will you invest my money? All right, tell me about yourself. Okay, well, I'm a realtor. I'm down in Lakewood, Florida, and I want you to invest my money. He said, look, you can do this yourself. It's not hard. You're in the real estate business. You know the contractors. Go out and buy it. Yeah, but, you know, my husband and I aren't real comfortable with that. We're not real comfortable with the risk. Look, you don't even know me. Just do it. Yeah, and I told her, and she's bought a house with me. She sent her money up and bought the house. I'm giving her 8% on her money, and she's happy. And I'm thinking, wow, okay. I don't know. All right, but Bob, you can't benefit from your IRA, all right? So you're not, as long as the undivided interest is based on percentages and everything is equal going in and out of the deal, okay?
One thing here, just kind of emphasize this. If you buy half the house in your IRA and half of it with cash, that means your property management company has to cut 2 checks every month.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
just keep it, understand, they have to cut one to the IRA account and one to your personal account.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like it's 2 separate people.
Yeah, you have to be, and your IRA is a separate entity. It's not you. It's not your money. You've got to treat it as a separate entity. Okay. The ownership must be established at the onset. Remember what I said, okay? When you write the contract for the property, make sure you put it in there how you're going to structure it and what percentage of undivided interest is there, okay? And I will tell you that Laura down at All Florida writes my notes. She takes care of my paperwork. I'm here to tell you, folks. Now, I'm not saying she'll do it for everybody, but I do a lot of business with All Florida. I know Joe does a lot of business with All Florida. Any of the investors in Jacksonville, Tom, I'm sure you probably do. Doug, you use All Florida, Laura? I figure I hadn't seen you in there, but any of the investors in Jacksonville, we you know, John Reepstein did a great job, built a great company, and Laura is taking it over. She structures my notes for me. I tell her what they need to be structured. She sends the paperwork out to the clients. They send the money in. It flows through her. I fill out the DOI and sign it. I say, Laura, look, just let me sign it. Date it when you want. And Laura says, no, Bob. Every time you need to sign a new DOI and date it. Okay, I'll do that. And she'll email it to me. What Laura is? Yeah, she's teaching tax deeds, liens. Yeah. Okay.
How to buy and also how to basically by taking the title before you put the money out.
Yeah, that's important. Okay, so make sure the title correctly. Laura does take care of all mine. Okay, now, when you leverage your IRA in a non-recourse loan, your IRA must be, hello, Bob, 30% invested in the deal. Okay, so it's 30% must be your IRA, and 70% of it is financed through using leverage through lenders, other lenders, non-recourse lenders. And like I said, Equity Trust has got a list of them, and there are plenty out there. There's a lot of non-recourse lenders out there, okay? And they're lending on the deal. They're going to want to know a little bit about you. You got the same underwriting requirements. And I haven't done any non-recourse loans, so I really don't know. But I know it's pretty easy stuff. But you are subject to, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on at UBIT, okay? Unrelated business income tax. Remember, you cannot commingle personal funds, so ensure you have the cash reserves, okay? So, let's go the other way. Your IRA is 70% in the deal, you're 30% cash out of your pocket, and you don't have enough cash to cover your 30%. And you need an AC unit. You got to be able to cover that as well, okay? It's a little easier when it's 30% of $2,000 than it is, whatever. All right, but you can't commingle funds, so make sure you document everything properly. Make sure your records are right. This is the number one thing that scares me about people saying you can do checkbook IRAs. you can run an IRA through your checkbook. I would be really scared to do that because to me, it's not worth it when there's systems out there such as Equity Trust and any of the other ones where you can do bill pay out of and you can do direction of investments and just let them process the paperwork. It's very simple. And Equity Trust has a program where they provide service where you can call up and ask questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I invest in gold? How do I invest in, computers? I want to sell computers. I want to buy and sell computers in my IRA. How do I do that? And they'll help you through it. They really will. Okay, and they make it very simple. Okay. With percentages of ownership, I already talked about this, and I use the title company to run in the escrow. UBIT, unrelated business income tax. Get with your CPA and your tax advisor on there. If you're using your IRA to leverage and borrow against it, you are subject to UBIT on that money, okay, on that growth. Okay, I don't think when I looked at the numbers and compared them in the book, the income tax on that is a lot lower than regular income. Okay, it's a lot cheaper than W-2 income. Something to look at. Okay. Okay, but when you're not subject to UBIT if you're not leveraging your IRA. So if you're doing deals strictly in your IRA, you're not subject to that tax. Now, if you're using other people's IRAs and you're benefiting cash-wise, obviously you're going to be subject to that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay. Other IRA growth scenarios. Okay, options. We talked a little bit about options. What happens if you just take your IRA and leverage $1,000 out of it on an option and the option pays out or you wholesale? Let's say you wholesale. You write the contract, you put $1,000 out of your IRA to buy the property, you wholesale it out and you profit $10,000. That $10,000 goes right back to your IRA, whether it's pre-tax or post-tax money. Okay? Something I neglected to mention because I think it's a question that comes up all the time is you can't take your company-sponsored 401k and convert it to a self-directed IRA. Now, I have heard that there are companies out there that are allowing some self-directed IRAs components in them. I don't know of any that I know. You
can once you leave the company.
Right, but right. If it's an active IRA within a company that you're working with, you can't. But everybody knows when they leave a company, you have a choice of either leaving it in there or taking it to Merrill Lynch or Fidelity or any of those other companies. Well, from there you can go to a self-directed IRA. Go ahead.
Yes, some 401ks allow for an in-service withdrawal. There's not many at a certain age. Allow it.
Right.
Allow it.
Yep.
So if you did have a lot in your 401k, it would be worth, if you wanted to move money, getting in touch with HR and say, we allow for an in-service withdrawal. They will allow you to move money.
If it's an in-service withdrawal, there's no payback on that then? It's just an in-service withdrawal?
Yeah, it's not a loan.
So it's not a loan. So you can do a conversion at that point or a transfer. Yeah. Okay. Now, what I will tell you, and Equity Trust kind of got the ball on this thing is, if it's pre-tax 401k money, roll it directly from like funds to like funds. Because if you take a 401k in a company and you roll it to a Roth IRA, or they're going to be liable to hold back the tax money on that. Right. Make them convert it to the same like funds, and then Equity Trust used to charge you for 2 accounts. Now they allow you to roll it if you're going to convert it to a Roth. They'll allow you to go 401k to 401k pre-tax money and then convert it to a Roth and not charge you for that extra account. I will tell you that setting up an account, I think, is $500, and I think the annual expense on it it's scaled. I think if you're under $100,000, it's out of $500. It's cheap money. It's cheap, $250 or something. It's cheap money. Okay. Now they do have some transaction fees in there. I think it's like $80 to do a purchase, so they get $50 for the transaction plus $30 for handling it. But what's $80 when you're kicking $23K back to your IRA? It's ridiculous. So they get a one-time annual fee based on your balance at the end of the year or your value at the end of the year, and then they get some transaction fees in the middle. But it's such cheap money. I think they get $5 to sign a page or something. It's just cheap money. So it's well worth it. So short sales, you can do short sales. Tax liens, you can buy tax liens in your IRA. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that specialize in buying tax liens. You put them in your IRA, you sit on them for, I know, Doug, you did tax liens for a while, didn't you? So you could do them tax liens and put them in your IRA and wait till they mature, and then the money goes right back in your IRA. That's pretty simple money there. That's now, what's the downside of doing tax lien? What happens to the end of the property back? Where's the property end up? In your IRA. Okay, so you're going to either have to dispose of it, depending on what it is, or you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do with it from there. But you could sell it just like you can anything else. Remember, this is self-directed, so you can manage all this yourself. The property ends up in your IRA. You say, okay, I want to sell it. You sell it. If you got somebody running tax liens, then somebody else is going to manage it. Go ahead, Doug.
Actually, the property will not end up with your IRA. How much free the tax deed before?
Okay, right. The foreclose on it, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
You don't automatically get the property. Just someone does not.
Yeah, take it to the foreclosure. Okay, right. Right. Oh, okay, right. So you've got to go through the process of actually redeeming the property. Right. Right.
You gotta go to the tax deed sale.
Right.
You gotta go to the tax deed sale.
Right.
And hopefully somebody else will.
Yeah, and if somebody else redeems at a tax deed sale, the profit goes to your IRA. Well, or whatever's left, whatever your profit was, or whatever your agreed on percentage was.
And then if nobody buys the tax deed sale, then the property will end up in your IRA.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I haven't done tax liens. I know there's a lot of people out there that specialize in that, and there's a lot of companies that Equity Trust has out there that manages tax liens.
Describe that process.
There you go. Good. All right. Equipment leasing. Okay, so you want to buy a fleet of cars and lease them out, or you want to buy tractors, or you want to do point-to-point sales, or you want to do whatever. You can buy the equipment in your IRA and then lease it out. Where does the profit have to go? IRA. Okay. Can you manage the asset? Can you go to somebody and let them lease it from you? Can you shuttle it over there? Sure, but you can't personally benefit from it. Okay, you're managing the asset. Okay, that might be a gray area if you have to take a dumpster and put it on the back of a truck and drag it over there. Maybe you need to pay the guy that's moving the truck. I don't know. Equipment, but Equity Trust will answer those questions for you. I'm here to tell you. Rental property. That's another option. We talked a little bit about that and how the math works on that. You can put it in your IRA. I would just recommend using a property manager to manage all of it and document it properly. Okay, because if you don't document it properly and the money doesn't get over there and the money comes to you and for some reason, let's just say the rent check comes to you and you throw it in your bank accidentally. What happened? You benefited from it. So I would just be real careful. Get you a property manager. Floor planning cars, boats, RVs. We talked a little bit about that. Okay. Remember, here's the back end, and then we'll open the floor up. I'm not a financial advisor, a legal professional, CPA, or tax accountant. Information provided is solely for the education provided. Here's what I am big on. Just because I'm standing in front of this room, folks, I'm here to tell you, do your due diligence. Go talk to somebody that's done business with me. Go talk to people you're looking to do business with. Go talk to somebody. And here's what I tell everybody, okay? I want you to walk into a room, and I'm also involved in the other RIO over there, and they have the back of the room. This one doesn't have much of the back of the room. But stand in the back of the room and look. Look who knows who. Look who's talking to who. Look who knows the people in there. And then get them over in the corner over there and say, look, tell me, who do you do business with? Okay? Let them tell you. And then, more importantly, who don't you do business with? Now, you don't have to tell me why. Who don't you do business with? Well, I kind of stay away from that guy, and I stay away from that guy, or whatever. Do your due diligence, folks. Find out somebody that they've done business with, repeated deals with. I can tell you right now, the old timers are going to tell you who's going to do right, who's going to treat you fair, because this is a very tight and small community. Like Joe said, there's not a whole lot of investors in Jacksonville, and those people know who. Okay, they know who the wholesalers are that are leveraging them, getting the most money out of them, leaving no meat on the bone. They know who the people are out there that are do 1 and 2 or 3 deals with people, and then they never see them again. And there's a reason for that. Okay, due diligence is very, very important in this business. Okay, because it's so easy to get that $100,000 deal tied up in your IRA, and then somebody says, I'm done with that. And then what do you end up with? You end up with a mess in your IRA, and then you got to clean it up. And that, you don't want to do that, okay? Use your common sense. Do your due diligence. This is important. Call your IRA company, such as Equity Trust. They'll advise you of what's good, what's legal, what's right, and what you can't do. They can't tell you if it's good for you. They don't give you financial advice, but they'll tell you what's legal and what they're going to do, because they're going to protect themselves and they want you to protect your money, okay? They'll tell you if they can't tell you if it's a scam or an opportunity. That's on you guys, okay? I don't know. I will tell you, and this is the story that I relate to. I had a gentleman come along, and it was my first time in Jack's Rea, and I says, wow, I'm looking for some houses. And he says, wow, I'll mentor you. I'll bring you alongside here, and I get some deals here. And I'll tell you what, I'll mentor you through 3 houses. And by the time we get done with those 3 houses, you ought to be in great shape, and you ought to be able to just manage this yourself. And I go, yeah, that sounds pretty good. So I spent some time with this guy. He says, look, I got this house out on Broward Road or something. I don't know. It was out in the sticks somewhere. And he says, I got this house. It's a great house. The contractor screwed the pooch on it, and it just needs finishing up. I says, okay, well, let's go look at it. And I wasn't a licensed contractor at the time, and I will tell you, I'm a licensed contractor, but I can't put 2 2x4s together with a screw gun, trust me, okay? I studied the course, I took all the tests, I do modulars, that's what I specialized in. I drop in modulars in, I could do the plans, and I could get people to put them together. I specialized in that, but anyways, I didn't know a whole lot about construction. And I walked in, and there's sheetrock up, nice high ceilings, looks pretty good. Got to finish up the appliances, finish this up, and all the roughing is done. Doesn't look too bad. So I thought, you know what? Let me get somebody out here to take a look at this thing structurally and see if it's good. And I paid an engineer $500 to go out and look at this house. And he was there about 10 minutes. And he says, you see that? This house is built on cinder blocks in the dirt. And oh, by the way, there's 15 red tags on it downtown in the city where this work has been red tagged. Okay? So this guy's going to mentor me along and make all this money on this house when in fact he knew the issues was there. He told me he didn't know they were there. I didn't know all that. I was just trying to wholesale it out. Okay? But if you're not careful in this business, spend the time with talking to people, ask the questions, get educated.
Well, I tell people there are clowns and there are sharks. The clowns are generally more dangerous than the sharks.
Yeah.
So if he didn't know, he was more dangerous.
Yeah, maybe he was. But work with people that you trust and get educated in this, okay? It really is worthwhile. That's it. Questions? Thank you. Appreciate it.